I'm just double checking.
Go ahead, you too wild, man. Shalom, Israel. What's going on? We coming at you live right here in Kansas City, Missouri. You understand? I'm Officer 5,000 Malak. This is Officer of 500. So I was about to give him a rank raise already. Officer 500 Elijah Shah. And tonight is a Tuesday night Brotherhood class, and we're going to be talking about something that's so heavy, man. Something that's very controversial, something that's absolutely heavy, the water. And it's something that Commander Giuliano went over last night, and it made me really think about this class. Something I've been, in the UPK, one of the topics we always do cover is brotherhood, because this is our class and this is our life in the ISUPK is brotherhood. But something we don't understand about brotherhood is you can't prefer every other nation and prefer your own nation, right? You can't love all people and love your own people. It just doesn't work that way. And so tonight we're going to go over a class. We're going to pull some precepts. We're going to talk about some things that's been going on in the news, and we're going to break everything down for you. We're going to make it plain and flat as can be so you understand moving forward after this class is over that you must love your people and you must come together with your people in the ISUPK under Commander Giuliano.
That's right.
You must prefer one another, or else we don't have anything. The only thing we do have is one another. The only thing we do have and can count on is brotherhood. But of course, in the church, in that disgusting Christian church, that's something that we don't have, and it's something we're not taught, is how to love each other, how to prefer each other. We're taught, like how Commander Giuliano was going over last night on Black Watch, like Mike Tyson, we're taught how to love other nations and how to prefer other nations and how to take pictures standing behind some Arab because he's an Arab. Like we're taught, we learn how to love everybody else, every other nation, but we're never taught how to love each other. So tonight we're going to be going over that. So Chloe, clap it up again. Right? And you had anything you want to say, Elisha?
Just like every Tuesday, we bring it out. Brotherhood, how important brotherhood is. You understand? Because blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, we don't understand what brotherhood is, and we prefer other nations over our own because we've been, I don't want to say trained that way, but because of oppression.
That's right.
And because the Christian church doesn't teach us God's laws, that we're commanded as a nation to love each other. And I always bring out Adawan Salaki, if I may, that. And it's not because you got brothers and sisters that they were like, well, I do got brotherhood.
Right.
I do have sisterhood. But can you love a complete stranger like you can love yourself?
Right.
Because that's what Christ did.
That's right.
You should be able to look at every black and Hispanic the same, not not the people that you grew up around,
that's right,
or the people that are in your family, or the people you went to school with. You should be able to look at a complete stranger with the same exact love and respect that you have for yourself. That's right. What Christ taught.
That's right.
That's what I wanted to say.
Damn right. All right, our first scripture that we're going to go into is Ecclesiasticus chapter 13. Shalakia, Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 15.
Ecclesiasticus.
Check to see if there's any comments as well. Make sure, that's what I meant to do.
What's that other one?
Put the, at the end of class, I'll post it up. But make sure you're logging in, right, at the end of class, there will be a link to sign in so that you're documenting your time, your days that you're doing so you can earn your Hebrew name. Brothers and sisters, right? You're a young man, you're a sister, you're a brother. You want to make sure that you're logging in and signing into that link, clicking that link and signing in, so that way you get that time. That's accredited time for you to earn your Hebrew name. Now listen, I ain't making you do it. You ain't got to come up in the ISUPK. You don't have to join the ISUPK because truth be told, we have enough brothers in here. We have enough men and enough women in here as it is. General Muhammad is trying to kick people out of the school. Right, but if you see what we do, and you know that we're the truth because we are, and you know we're the home of the truth, and you see the work that Commander Giuliano does all over this earth, and you want to be a part of it, and you see our Hebrew names and how we've changed. Some people you may know in here, you may see brothers and sisters you grew up with, people that you know from the world, and you see the change they've made. You can do the exact same thing. You knew that I was once a drug addict or a drug dealer, and now you see me saving drug addicts and drug dealers that I once was. And you see that, and you see that change and that revolution that we made, and now you want to join, you can join.
That's right.
You understand? Be my guest, but it is a hard road. This isn't easy. Just like brotherhood isn't an easy thing, right? Keeping the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments, that's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to be in here, so it's not a burden, right? Because the ISBK is amazing, but it's also not an easy thing as well. It's something that you're going to have to be disciplined in. The first time in your life when you join the ISUPK, when you come in here and you want to make a change, that's something that's going to take discipline. And it's the kind of discipline that you can only find in the ISUPK, right? People in the world are not disciplined.
That's right.
And that's something that you will learn. I was reading an article right before this class. That's what I was about to tell you. Before you showed me that salon, I was reading an article before class, Doc. And in the world, especially when you're a young black man, Hispanic and Native Indian man, naturally black and Hispanic men are attracted to masculinity. And you're attracted to war and Call of Duty and fighting and play fighting and doing robbers and bank robbers. We used to play that all the time with the little cap guns. I'm the cowboy, you the Indian. Let's play robbers, bank robbers. Let's play GTA. It's very normal. That's very natural for a young boy to exhibit, the type of masculine behavior that makes you a man.
Right.
You're not soft and timid. And so a lot of times when you're a young black man and you're growing up as a boy and you just gravitate, it's true. But that doesn't make them masculine. Like Israel is a masculine nation, which is what I was about to bring out. I was looking at this article right before class. Brother, this ex-Navy SEAL comes out as a transgender. This cat transmorphified into a woman. And so now he's a woman. He was once a hard-charging, fighting Navy SEAL, which is a pinnacle in all special forces throughout the entire earth. BUDS, Basic Underwater Demolition School training, is the hardest training known to man. And he went through that and became a SEAL and spent 20 years in the SEAL teams, and now he's a woman. Like there was another case of a Navy SEAL who was the honor man in his BUDS class. You know what that means? So the BUDS is one of the most intense trainings, hardest trainings in the world. And this cat rose above all of that, and he passed the most evolutions in BUDS, which if you don't know what I'm saying, it's like to be an honor man in BUDS is like to go your entire life without getting a speeding ticket. That's how amazing it is. And so he did that. He became a serial killer when he got out. He was a serial killer when he got out. Him and his wife began to kidnap people or seduce them to come back to the hotel with them. We got some drugs at the hotel room. You and your wife, y'all want to get down? We swingers. And they would convince these jakes or these people any kind of way, and they would come back to the hotel room just to get slaughtered and killed. And this would go on throughout the country. I think they went on a killing spree for about 2 or 3 states in Vegas, in Nevada, California, and what was the other one? Not Utah.
Oregon or something? Not
Oregon. It may have been Washington State. Washington State, California, and Nevada. Those 3 western states. And they finally were caught because a woman managed to escape. And he was a Navy SEAL. And now this is Navy SEAL, did 20 years in the SEAL teams out. And do you know he's a woman today? He identifies as a woman, and he looks like a woman. He had the whole Caitlyn Jenner surgery to look like a woman. He chopped his rod off. He's a woman.
Good night.
He's got breasts. He takes all those hormone medications so he can sound like a woman instead of sounding like a man. He looks like he got his hair long like a white woman, and this cat is a woman, and he was a SEAL. And I'm saying that to say this, that we always are seduced by the other nations. And we think that the other nation's military is so powerful and mighty or so masculine. And we always want to join the other nations when really the key is Israel. The key is being black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Like the Bible is the key to masculinity.
Right.
The men that served in the armies that King David led, they didn't turn into no woman. They were men who were about saving their nation. That's Christ. Right. Would you ever think that Christ would try to transmorphify himself into a transgression, into some transgender? Hell no. Why? Because he's a real man. And that goes to prove how the oppressor's military doesn't make you to be a man. It doesn't. What makes you a man is this Bible. And that's something the oppressor's military doesn't have. They allow anybody to join.
That's right.
Any nation can join. The Chinese, who are at war with America, the Arabs, who were at war with America for the past 22 years, and who has killed more service members than the Crips and the Bloods. The Arabs have killed more Americans than anybody else in the past 20 years, yet and still they can join the oppressor's military. Like here you are thinking as a young man that everything other nations do are so masculine and so strong, when really, when you read the Bible and you look at the men in the ISUPK, these brothers are masculine and strong. You're not even allowed to have a beard in there. How in the hell are you a man and you can't even rock your manhood like the Vikings and the great warriors of times past? They had the long hair with the beards. They were looking glorious. Now you in there, shaved face, shaved clean head like a monkey, like a slave. you're in there and you turn yourself into a woman, or you go be a serial killer, that doesn't sound like the place to make men and profitable women. What makes men and women is the Bible. And we've been throwing this thing down so long that it has messed up our train of thought, it has messed up our way of life, and messed up the way we think. This Bible is something we need to pick up and read so we can learn the truth of what God wants us to know. Or else you're going to join your oppressor's military, you're going to join his police force, you're going to join his politics, you're going to go in his government, and you're going to fail your people. Like other nations, they don't do what we do. They don't have to join America they don't have to think that joining America will make their nation better. They don't have to do that. You know how they make their nation better? They make their nation better by staying separate. And every nation does it except for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
That's right.
You had something you want to say?
Oh, kind of the kind. When you brought out the point that said the Lord, the Most High God, isn't what, he's not going to turn LGBTQ. Right. But in the Christian church, he will. Right. Because in the Christian church, we're taught to follow our lusts. That's right. So if you're a homosexual, then you're going to say that, well, the Lord's he can be a homosexual in order to reach me. Yeah. When it should be the other way around. You should stop being a LGBTQ member to please God. That's right. The Most High God doesn't change to benefit us. That's right. We keep those laws. We obey the Most High God's laws because we're commanded. That's and right. They shouldn't be grievous. That's right. But when you're full of sin, when you're full of lust, and you're full of the world, you're going to look at God's laws as a challenge. You're going to look at that like, well, that's too hard for me to do. That's right. No one's perfect. Then you're going to make excuses, and then you're going to say that the Most High God is going to be what you think he's going to be. Right. When the Bible says the Lord never changes. That's right. He's the same then, today, and tomorrow. Yeah, right. He's not going to be a transgender. That's right. And Salagi, one more point in growing marijuana in the church. Right. That other pastor. Jamal Bryant. What's his name? Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant. The Lord is against weed. For all you weed heads that are unaware, smoking weed is a sin in the Bible. That's right. The Lord is not going to allow the prophet or a priest to go out and grow marijuana so he can come to school or come to class or come to church. And if I may, it's insane. And what he's saying is absolutely true. And it's so heavy because here that sodomite, Jamal Bryant, LGBTQ man, here he is as gay as he can possibly be. Oh, he's a sodomite too? Oh, what? I don't know his pores. Now, you must not have saw the video. I seen that little clip. I wish we can play it now. You got to see how it's seeping through his pores how LGBTQ he is. Kind of the kind. And like the brother was saying, like here it is, like Amanda Gianna brought out last night on the Black Watch. The Lord ain't gonna. Here you are changing what you believe because America changes what they believe. Kind of the kind. At one time, marijuana was illegal all throughout the 50 states of the United States of America. And Jamal Bryant was against marijuana when it was illegal, according to America. Now he's for marijuana because America has a big push legalizing marijuana. That's right. And so now he is whatever America, and that's the same thing with that church act and marriage. Marriage and slavery was not a piece of paper in a ring. Marriage was sex and slavery, which is why they jumped over the broom just to show everybody, hey, this is my woman, this is my husband. You think a slave was getting on his hands and knees giving a damn ring? They didn't have money or jewelry. They wasn't going into a church getting married. Why? Why? Because the slave master wouldn't have that. They didn't want you married. Why? Why wouldn't the slave master want you married? So you can produce as many slaves as possible. They wanted that man to be a breeding buck. He didn't want you to be tied to one woman. That's right. And so here you are. You think that the church thinks that marriage is a piece of paper and a ring and going into some courthouse to get married. Because America believes that. That's why the church believes it. The black church believes you ain't married to her just because you had sex with her. You're married to her when you give her a ring and you're able to provide all the bills. That's not in the Bible. But America says that. And so now, guess who believes it? The Christian church believes it. And it's their doctrine. When at one time it was not. Which goes to prove that everything the church teaches is does America approve of it? You're a Christian, and when you're a black and Hispanic and you're a Christian, you have to feel very dumb because here you are abiding by the same American government that murdered your people, that unalived your forefathers,
that put your forefathers in ugly predicaments, that tortured them, that binded heavy yoke of burden on their heavy yokes of burdens on their necks. And I mean that literally. I don't mean a spiritual burden, a yoke of burden. I mean a literal yoke of iron on their necks. They binded those on our forefathers. And here you go, wanting to be the religion that America approves of. That's what Christianity is. Also, Christians believe what else? What else do Christians believe? Loving everybody. Where else have I heard that, Elisha? I think it's in the United States Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God, indivisible. I wonder why the church believes so much. I wonder why their beliefs line up so much. America, now remember, at one time, America didn't allow you to be an LGBTQ.
Right.
It was something that was shunned across the entire earth at one time. Like, you couldn't be a LGBTQ person in America in the 40s, in the 50s, and the 60s. But right around the 70s and the 80s, around the cocaine and drug epidemic, everybody just started coming out of the closet. People who were closeted and had families and was living lives being on the outside a heterosexual, they was living a life. And then here comes the 70s and the 80s. And what else happened during that time? AIDS. The AIDS epidemic. And the Lord plagued those sodomites or the LGBTQ community with AIDS and HIV.
Right.
Now, around that time, the 40s and 50s, when it was shunned to be an LGBTQ person, living an alternative lifestyle was against God in the church in the 40s and 50s and 60s. But right around the time of the 70s and 80s, when America started to accept homosexuality, somebody else started to accept homosexuality too. The church. The church accepted homosexuality when America accepted homosexuality.
Right.
The church accepted, what are the things I just said? The church accepted weed and marijuana and drugs when America made it legal. The church made marriage a ring and a piece of paper when America did. Like, here you are being a Christian, and being a Christian literally means you're just a good, law-abiding American citizen.
That's right.
You're just a good American boy and a good American girl. You salute the flag, and your religion is approved of by your oppressor. And that's why you don't love black people, because America doesn't love black people. America's forefathers were rapists and drug dealers and enslavers and murderers and human traffickers, sex traffickers. That is what America is. So if you have the same belief system as the same America who murdered, trafficked, raped, destroyed, pillaged your people, what do you think your benefit is going to be to your people? It's going to have the same benefit America has for your people as well, which is nothing. No benefit at all. The church has no benefit to black people, just like being a good American doesn't either. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. If you're a Christian, then you are a good American. If you're a good American, you're a Christian. The two go hand in hand.
That's right. You
can't believe in loving black people and be a Christian. Why? Because America doesn't agree with loving black people. America believes in enslaving black people, putting Mexicans in the borders in INS detention centers. How could you love the Mexicans and be Christian when America doesn't love the Mexicans and America is Christian? You see how there's a problem there? Like, this is why we're going to pull the first scripture. You got that scripture?
What was it?
Ecclesiasticus 13 and 15. This is why the Lord said this right here.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 13 verse 15. Every beast loveth his like.
Like just what Commander Junior Hunter was breaking down last night on Black Watch, how with the old Mike Tyson picture, Mike Tyson, his father, what we suspect to be his father on the other side of DJ Khaled, they took a picture standing behind DJ Khaled like DJ Khaled was a god. And that was done purposefully. That was done purposefully. It wasn't, when I say purposely, I don't mean Mike Tyson and his father purposely said, he's an Arab, let's take a picture with him and stand behind him. It was done purposely, meaning there's a witchcraft like you wouldn't understand on entertainment. And that entertainment dictates that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians love and serve and prefer the gods of the other nations. And Mike Tyson and his father just showed it when he took that picture with DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled is nothing. He's nothing without Israelites.
That's right.
He's not known about, he's nothing. He's not even a producer. Like Morale was breaking down last night on the Black Watch Out. Like DJ Khaled is nothing. He doesn't do anything. He has 2 Puerto Rican or Ephraimite Israelite producers that produce the music for him. And then he sends the damn music to the black artist And all he does is put his name on the record and says, this is DJ Khaled's song, but he does nothing. Meanwhile, Mike Tyson was the heavyweight champion and the youngest heavyweight champion in the world. You remember that. He was knocking everybody out in 30 seconds. The first one to do it. And it was a short brother, 5'5", 5'6", doing it to men that was 6'5", 6'6". In 30 seconds, everybody feared Mike Tyson. That's right. Heavyweight champion, and he went on to accomplish a lot of things. And he's standing behind DJ Khaled as if DJ Khaled is better than him. Subconsciously, he's doing it because he's a Christian. And being a Christian, you're not taught what the Bible just said, which is, every beast loveth his like. That's in the Bible. Like God said that every beast loveth his like. Meaning what? That the lions prefer the other lions. The hyenas prefer the hyenas. You don't see hyenas hunting with lions. There could be a drought in the Saharan desert, in the Serengeti. There would be a drought, and you would never see lions and hyenas teaming up just to help each other out. Why? Because every beast stick to his own. That's right. Every beast loveth his like. The birds in the air. The eagles don't hunt with the pigeons. The pigeons don't hunt with the robins. Robins don't hunt with cardinals. They are completely separate. The germs in your body, they're fighting to dominate the other germs in your body. The sharks, the great white shark, is not he's not going to hunt with the killer whales. Killer whales and sharks eat the same thing. And they're not together. But they're in the same world. You understand? Like the shark and the killer whale is in the same sea world, but yet and still they don't go out together and hunt together, and they don't have any dealings with each other. They're completely separate. Like the Most High God said, every beast loveth his like. Every nation of people, they love their own people. Our oppressor loves his people out. Which is why when the Holocaust happened, they went and they gave justice to those Jewish white people. Because every beast loveth his like. It's the same reason why the Chinese stuck together during the Mongolian Empire, and they were able to defeat the caliphate of the Arabs and not allow Islam to be spread in China. Which is why now China controls their own religion and beliefs. The Arabs control their own religious beliefs. The Japanese control their own religious beliefs. The Vietnamese fought America for 20 years in the Vietnam War just so they can maintain their own beliefs and their own power and their own structure and their own rules and their own laws. Every beast loveth his like. They don't work together. They're not working together to help each other out. They're working together to look out for the best interests of their people. That's why there's NATO. That's why there's the United Nations. Everybody is conspiring to overthrow Israel so that you don't know who you are, so that you can stay stuck loving other nations. That's why there's a NATO and a United Nations, so they can make a conspiracy like it says in Psalms 83rd chapter. They have a conspiracy to overthrow Israel to make sure that our name gets blotted out so nobody knows who we are. And they've succeeded at doing it for far too long. Now it's time for you to wake the hell up, black man. It's time for you to realize that the only way you're going to maintain any structure and power in your nation is to stay separate, just like the other nations have done, just like the hyenas. It's so simple that animals do it naturally. That's how simple segregation is. It's so simple that everything does it in life, in nature, in science. Everything sticks together. Nothing crosses its path. Why? Why is that? Why did the Lord design life to be that way? Because that is power. That's how you maintain power. You don't maintain power and keep power and help your people by joining a nation of people that hate yours. You have to now separate from these people, which is why Dr. King, why he should be lauded, why he should be his legacy should be hated in the black community. It's why he should be staunchly against in the black community, because what he did was against nature, was against God, was against the Bible that he represented. Dr. King was supposed to represent Christ in the Bible, but the Bible says that every beast loveth his like. The Bible, Christ said that no man can serve two masters. The Bible says that any man that say, I have a dream is a false prophet. And he went out there and wrote a speech saying, I have a dream. Right. Like, it shows you that these people that call themselves men of God, they really are not. They're really just liars. They're really just pimps looking to get your money and your children and your woman. That's all they're doing. They're not here to save black people. They're not here to help the Hispanics. They're not here to keep the Native Indians off the reservation and to make their life better. They're not here for the West Indian brothers and sisters. They're not here for nobody but themselves. That's it. They're not here to teach you the things that Commander Geniana is teaching you right now. And that is every beast loveth his like. Keep going.
Kind of the kind. And every man loveth his neighbor.
Just like we just said. Just like we said, every other nation on the face of the earth loves their own people except for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's the reason why the Chinese can have a Chinatown in every major district in America when the Chinese are enemies to America and America are enemies to China. It's the reason why the Arabs, who have killed more American service members in the last 25 years and who have been at war with America for the last 30, 45 years, why they are able to come to America, get a degree. Do you know that those kings and princes over in the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Afghanistan, do you know those men come over here to American colleges, Elisha? You can look this up. You can Google this. That the princes, those Saudi princes and those Arab princes who are at war and are enemies with America, their sons and daughters come over here and they get American educations. They come over here and they get a degree from Stanford, from UC Berkeley, from Harvard, from Yale, from all of the Princeton. They come over here and get American degrees, and they take those degrees back to their country and fight America with those degrees. There was an American service member. This is heavy, This is something that stuck out to me, and it made me realize just how far behind we are as blacks and Hispanics, Elisha. There was a devil, Salakia, who was in MARSOC. MARSOC is the Marines. Every branch in America's military has a special operations force. The Navy has the SEALs. The Army has the Green Berets. The Air Force has PJs, pararescue jumpers, and what is their other? They have another special operations force, the Air Force, but I forget it. But I know the pararescue jumpers. Air is air. It has something to do with. It's like air PFT, air TFT or something. The Air Force has, right? The Marine Corps has MARSOC, right? That's their special operations force, Marine Force Recon, and MARSOC. MARSOC is their top tier. They're the tip of the spear, right? They're tier 2 operators. And this was a tier 2 operator who was also a CIA contractor. And you know what he said that stuck out to me, Yak? He said that the Taliban fight different than ISIS. And the interviewer was asking him, he said, well, why do you say that? And he said, because their tactics are, he said when you think about history, he said America was the 15th or 14th. They were the 15th. America was the 15th nation that was trying to take Afghanistan away from their people. Pretty much saying that they've been so resilient and they're so aged in fighting. He was saying that those Arabs in Afghanistan, the Taliban, they're so aged in fighting that their fighting tactics are tactics that they teach them in top tier units like the Navy SEALs and MARSOC. Meanwhile, they're just camel jockeys and sheep herders. But because they don't have Christianity in Afghanistan, they will never sacrifice their people to serve another nation like we do.
That's right.
They will never go and join another nation of people and forego their power and their authority because they understand something that everybody else does. And that's every man loveth his neighbor. Your neighbor is your kinsman, your brother, and according to the flesh, according to the Bible. And your neighbor is your people. So if your neighbor is your people, the Bible is saying just like how every lion loves every other lion, like how every other hyena loves their own hyenas, how every dolphin sticks with their own, how the germs in your body stick with each other, how the Russians stick with each other, is the same way that mankind sticks with their own like. It's a reason why the Lord divided the earth. We all don't speak the same language. We all don't come from the same people. We're all different. We're all separate nations. Everybody understand? The Arabs know that, Doc. That's why they have top tier training as sheep herders. Like when the war broke out after 9/11, Doc, these sheep herders went from herding sheep to picking up a gun and fighting with their backs to the sun. That's what this cat said. He was a Marine Raider. That's what MARSOC is, a Marine Raider. And this Marine Raider said He said it was scary fighting them. And the interviewer said, well, why? He said, because fighting the Taliban was just different. He said, number one, we're at a high elevation. If y'all don't know geography, Afghanistan, Iraq is in a mountainous region. Afghanistan, my God, it's mountains everywhere. You 21,000 feet above sea level. And that affects your lungs and your breathing. So he said, on top of the health, on top of you have to fight. You have to get to them just to fight. And he said they knew to shoot and move. So they didn't stay in one spot. Like here you are in the military, you may stay in one spot when you're over on patrols. You might pitch a camp, you might have to dig a trench and just sleep there for the night before you get up. You understand? And go on more patrols. Well, the Taliban don't do that, Ak. They hit and they run, which is tactical, which is very tactical, Ak. And these are just sheep herders 3 years ago. And these cats, they've been fighting for millenniums. And that's what he was saying, is they're so trained and fighting that it shocked them when they fought the Taliban. They went over there and they were getting their ass beat. That's why America pulled out of the war in Afghanistan. Right. Because they said, the white man said, we don't have another 25 years to fight. American service members, they lost more American service members than the Taliban did. Because they aren't Christian. America couldn't come to that Taliban with weed and with whores. They couldn't make Megan Thee Stallion out of their daughters. They couldn't make Bobby Smurder out of their sons. They couldn't make drug addicts out of their sons and daughters like they did us. Like they did our mother and our fathers and our uncles and our aunts. They couldn't do that to the Taliban. So they pulled the hell out because of their resiliency to be disciplined and to not be Christian. Now, what should that teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? That if you love your own people like the Bible instructs us to, if you stay 10, what they call it, 10 toes down. If you stay 10 toes down for the Most High, there's not a nation that can overcome us.
That's right.
There's not one. And the Bible says every man loveth his neighbor. This is pivotal in learning about God in the Bible. That God does not want everybody to join together. That is against God. Why do you think God, we'll go over it. As a matter of fact, we'll go over that in a second. We'll go over Nimrod in a second. But here you are about to celebrate Christmas, which is Nimrod's birthday.
Right.
And the Most High God, the Bible said he was staunchly against Nimrod because Nimrod was just like America, just like Rome, just like Egypt. And they tried to bring every nation together. That is against God. That is evil and disgusting. That's why the Most High God had to flood the earth the first time. Why? Because everybody coming together, miscegenation, everybody having sex with other nations. God wants this place to be separate, and he wants one nation to rule. That's in the Bible, man. Keep going. Verse 16.
Verse 16. All flesh consorted according to kind.
All flesh. Read that part again.
All flesh consorted according to kind.
All flesh consorted to kind. What does that mean? Look on the line and see if somebody's going to answer this question. Right? All the Bible says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth to his kind. What does that mean? Right? Stay on topic. We're talking about being separate and segregation and everybody loving each other. We're talking about power and dominance over another nation. So what does it mean, all flesh consorteth according to kind? Right? I'll give you a couple more seconds to answer. All flesh consorteth to kind. The Bible says that every nation loves their own nation of people. The Bible says every beast loveth his own like. The Bible also says all flesh consorteth to his own kind. Well, let's find out what consorteth. What is consorteth? Consorteth is to join together. Consort, that's what that means.
Be in harmony.
And we'll say it again.
Oh, being in harmony.
That's consorteth. I get it, brother hand. Harmony, unity, joining together. All nations join together. Every last one of them, especially when it comes to oppressing blacks and Hispanics. They come together. And here we are divided over colors. Here we are divided over Christian denominations. Here we are divided over who has sex with who last. Who's the best baby mother? Who's the better baby's mother? We're divided over the dumbest things, Ak. The most ignorant things a person could be divided over. That's the nation of Israel. Just fighting over ignorance, Ak. Ignorance. Who dances the best? Who looks the best? Who cooks the best? What tribe has the best rice? What tribe has the best chicken? Which tribe has the best sides? We always fighting, just fighting over nothing, over absolutely nothing. You would think the fights and battles that we had was who was going to maintain power. Are the Christians going to maintain power? You would think it would be something hardcore like that. We're fighting over which baby mother is the best. Do I take care of my kids better? No. Tell them, Elisha. Tell you got all the babies' mamas out. He got all of them in Kansas City. Every sister you see pregnant in the city in 816 and 913 belongs to Officer 500 Elisha. And they fighting. Tell them about it, Elisha. You know who's the better baby mother. And we fight over the dumbest things on the internet. We fight over the dumbest things over who gets the line first in Popeyes. That's what our fight is, Our fight isn't spiritual. Our fight is who is getting in line first at Popeyes. You cut in front of me, you bitch. That's the fights we have. Not these other nations out there. They consort to their flesh. They're joined together. Like the Taliban and those Arabs who defeated the Americans, and it took them 22 years to do it. It took them 22 years, but they accomplished their goal, Here you are brother, we've been in America since the 1600s, the 1700s. And we fight about who gets in Popeye's line first.
Don't forget about them Salakia.
Go ahead.
Don't forget about getting them Jordans.
Oh my God, you're gonna die over a pair of shoes,
Getting them first is important to black people.
You're gonna die.
Negroes.
Elisha, they gonna shoot you and kill you. And unalive you over a pair of shoes that come out every year. The same shoes come out every year. And because of your lust and your Christianity, because you were raised a Christian, you're going to kill a nigga over a pair of shoes. That is our life here, man. That is our life here. Our life is getting the best Jordans, getting a better job. That is it. Those two things there it sums up black life. Getting a better job and getting a new pair of shoes. Getting the Jordans, the newest Jordans, and getting a better job. That's it. That's life for us. Not the Taliban. The Taliban and Russia and the Ukraine, they don't care about the newest shoes or about drugs or about women and about lust. They care about dominance and power and fighting for power. That's what they care about.
That's right.
Just like the Ukraine. Russia attacked the Ukraine and invaded Ukraine and started a war with Ukraine. What did the Ukrainians do? Did they start fighting over the Popeyes chicken sandwich? Did the Ukrainians have a Ukrainian Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. telling them to love the Russians? Did they have a Ukrainian Al Sharpton telling them to love the Russians? Did they have a Ukrainian Jesse Jackson and Kenny Alexander and Ben Carson taking sides with the Russians, telling us we need to join the Russians? Telling them they need to join the Russians? Nah. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. You know what they did do? They fought.
That's right.
They fought and they fought and they fought and they fought. And now Russia is on the run. You know why? Because the Ukrainians didn't join the Russians. It's clear, right? That's the clear answer. Because Ukraine consorted to their own like and consorted to their own kind, they were able to fight off. They were able to fight for their country and defend their country from Russia.
That's right.
That is what is happened in the past, 8 months? They've been fighting for 8 months. The Arabs fought for 22 years. And they were able to defeat America. The Vietnam fought for 20 years. 20 years. From 1955 to 1975 is when the Vietnam War existed. 1955 is when it started. 1975 is when it ended. The Vietnam, brother, they were using guerrilla tactics in the jungle. And what happened? They fought America and won. Because they weren't Christians. They don't believe in loving everybody and a rainbow coalition and let bygones be bygones. Nah, not these other nations. They believe in maintaining the power that they have. Whether it be power given to them by man, but they believe in maintaining what power they have. Now, what do? Smoke weed and play video games all day? What are you, a stripper? A prostitute? What are you doing to benefit your nation? Here you are, you love everybody, you love everything and everybody, and you hate your people. And that is what is hurting us, man.
That's right.
You take pictures like Mike Tyson with an Arab and make him your God because you love other nations of people. You love the other nations, but you don't love your nation of people. And that is what's hurting us. Not rap music, not gangster rap, not sagging pants. That is not what's killing us and hurting us. Not black on black crime. What's hurting us is your affinity to the other nations around about us. You prefer to be Arab over black. You prefer to be Chinese or what is it? The people who are in Mexico right now that everybody thinks is Mexican. Even Mexicans think they're Mexican. They're not
Spaniards?
Lebanese. Nah, not Spaniards. No, they're the people, the Armenians. Brother, those Armenians are owning all of those businesses and haciendas and ranchos in Mexico. All of them are Armenian. They're not Mexican. You understand? So like they're not Mexican. They're Armenian. And the Mexicans, brother, will rather be them than be Mexican. De la raza. The Puerto Ricans, it's the same with Peru right now. Peru and Mexico and the so-called Spanish-speaking tribes. Oh my God, they would rather be a Spaniard or Lebanese or white or Armenian than to be who they are. It's the same with the Judites here in America. We would rather be Donald Trump and vote for Donald Trump than to be a nigger from the ghetto and solve the problems of the ghetto. We would rather put our hope in Deion Sanders instead of putting our hope in God, instead of putting our faith in God. We would rather look up to some Arab like DJ Khaled than to look up to the people in our own community. Like we want to be just like the other nations. We want to be like their God. We want to pray to their gods. We want to have their religions and share their religions and their culture. When we are the salt of the earth. We are the ones that are the pinnacle. We're the best of the cream of the crop.
That's right.
And here you are trying to be with people. Arabs don't even bathe, and the other nations are filthy and disgusting, and they're called a heathen for a reason. Everybody knows heathen is associated with something disgusting and vile. Right. They're heathens according to God. They're a spit in the bucket according to the Most High God, and you want to be like them? That is what's hurting us.
That's right.
Not rap crap. I mean, so like you're not the rap music, not gangster rap, not sagging pants. What's hurting us is your love for the other nations of people. Let's go ahead and keep going. Let's wrap this up.
Verse 17. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb?
Like the Bible says, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? What relationship is it for the wolf or the lamb to hang out with a wolf? How often do you see that in nature? Never. Have you ever seen a gazelle chilling with some lions, with a pride of lions? You will never see it. Because what fellowship? That's a rhetorical question if you didn't know. That question is to make your pastor look dumb like he is. Because God is asking a question, what fellowship? The prophet of God is saying, what relationship do the Arabs have with the Negroes? What relationship does the white man have with blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians? Why are you trying to have sex with their woman? Why are you trying to praise their God, serve their God? Why are you trying your damnedest to look like them? Why are you trying to bleach your skin? Why are you trying to be like the other nations of people? What fellowship, what relationship do you have with them? Isn't it just like the wolf with the sheep? What is the comparison, or what is the metaphor there? The wolf and the sheep. What's their relationship? Go ahead,
Salaki.
Well, look online first, Salaki. Give somebody a chance online. I know you already know the answer. But give somebody a chance to answer online. Because I know the sister, she pays attention to class and she watches class.
Go back on. I'll be trying to go back to.
No, you too wild, Bob.
Go back and forth to both of them.
Let's see.
This one don't pick up the ones on Facebook for some reason.
Okay, Con.
I don't know why.
Let's give somebody a chance to answer online. What relationship? The Bible says, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? Like, what is that metaphor there? What is their relationship? What is a wolf's relationship with the lamb? Let's see if somebody's going to answer. What's their relationship? All right, I'll give you 30 more seconds. What relationship does the wolf have with the lamb? And that's why it's so heavy that he's using this metaphor. All right, go ahead and answer, Elisha.
So, like, one's a predator and one's a prey.
Give the brother a hand. One is a predator and the other is prey. What is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians' relationship between the oppressor and the heathens on this earth? One is predator, one is prey.
Kind of the concept.
Trayvon Martin was prey.
That's right.
Sandra Bland was prey. Terrence McCutcheon was prey. Our mothers and our fathers, our foremothers and our forefathers, They were prey.
That's right.
Fodder. Something just to be destroyed. Something to be eaten. Now here you are. Now this is why this is so heavy that they use the Bible. God, he knows what he's doing now. And the prophets of God know why they said this. Because imagine you, black people love chicken. We love chicken now. Imagine some chicken come to you and he say, "What's going on, Mr. Black Man? What we doing today? What we gonna do today? What we gonna drive? What we going on the drive? What you gonna see your other rib? You going over that whole house again? Man, nah. Imagine a chicken in the front seat with you, talking to you, playing around with you, loving you, helping you. When you're looking at him as a 3-piece and a biscuit, you looking at it for a 6-piece and a 6-piece wing, a thigh, 2 breasts. You looking at him as a meal. You not looking at him as no friend.
Right.
You're not looking at a black man is not looking at no chicken as a pet. You're not looking at him as a friend. You're not looking at him as a partner. You're not looking at him as something that you can relate to or relate with. You're looking at him as to devour him. You're looking to devour this chicken. Well, that's the same way the other nations see us. You know how crazy it is for a black man to walk around with a chicken, talking to the chicken, and like they're friends? That would never happen. Why? Because that is prey, and you're the predator. Well, listen, the oppressor on this earth, who is the devil the Bible speaks of, that is your relationship with him. Your boss on the job, while you're planning trips with those white people, and you love those oppressors, and you go to church with white people. Imagine that, Doc. Your pastor is white. You love white people so much that your pastor is white. You go have sex with white women. You go let white men on top of you. They're looking at you like a black man looks at a piece of chicken. You're going to devour them. And that's the same way the other nations look at you. That's why it's in there. What fellowship have the wolf with the sheep, the lamb? Right. The wolf is looking to devour the lamb. You think that lamb going to walk up to the wolf? What we doing today, wolf? Mr. Wolf Man? Are we going on a hunt today? Are you going to eat Granny once again? This is another thing that's so heavy. The lamb eats differently than the wolf. The wolf's culture is different. His lifestyle is different than the lamb. The lamb does not eat. He's not a carnivore like a wolf is. A wolf is a carnivore, meaning he only eats meat. A lamb is a herbivore. The water. He's a herbivore. Latin for he only eats grass and vegetables and fruit. That's it. He's just an herbivore. He doesn't eat. He's not a non-meat eater. That's his lifestyle.
A lamb is vegan.
A lamb is vegan, yeah. He's a real vegan. And he's delicious, too.
God.
And a wolf is not. A wolf don't eat no parts of nothing green unless it's meat.
That's right.
Carnal, flesh, carne. Flesh, meat. The lamb eats herbs, sage, green grass, shrubs. He grows a woolly, he has wool on him that has to be taken care of by a shepherd.
That's right.
A wolf doesn't need an owner. A lamb does. Black people need an owner.
That's right.
You don't eat the same thing the oppressors eat. You don't have the same God the oppressors have. You don't have the same culture and customs and lifestyles as your oppressor. The oppressor, he believes he is God. He doesn't need an owner. He's a wolf. He doesn't need a shepherd to take care of him. He takes care of himself. Black and Hispanic, you do. You need a shepherd to rule your life so you can stop being killed by the police.
That's right.
So you can stop being raped by every cop that pulls you over. So brothers can stop going to jail unlawfully and unjustly. You need a leader over you. And that's why the Lord gave us Commander Juniana. That's why the Most High God gave us Yahushua Mashiach. Because he knows that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's right.
And every sheep needs a shepherd. And you're no different. You're no different. The problem is we've been following the wrong shepherd. We've been following the Nation of Islam. They failed. We followed the Black Panther Party. They failed. We followed the Democrats and the Republicans. They failed. We followed the Christian church. That failed. We followed every shepherd that led us to the wolf. Well, the Most High God gave us real shepherds. Shepherds that are going to look out for us and not their own best interest. A shepherd that's not going to let the wool on your body grow to the point where it snags on something and then ultimately kills you, which can really happen. Just go look it up. If a sheep's hair keeps growing, it's going to kill them because why? Number one, he can't see. it's not clean, he can get ticks and all kinds of lice and bacteria, and it will kill him. And that can happen. The same thing can happen to you. If you don't have a shepherd, the same thing can happen to you. And it does happen to you. And it does happen to us, which is why we need a shepherd. Everybody understand? What fellowship does a wolf have with the sheep? Like, God is saying, what in the hell are you doing trying to be with your oppressor? Trying to be with an heir? What are you doing marrying Maylene from the carryout like Young Jeezy? What is that? What are you doing? She's nothing like a black woman. She doesn't look like a black woman. She doesn't smell. She doesn't cook like a black woman. Her habits are different than black women. Black women were made for you. Jenny Ma wasn't made for you. Maylene wasn't made for you. Karen wasn't made for you. Some African woman wasn't made for you. Some Chinese woman wasn't made for you. They were made for their male counterparts.
That's right.
You had your hand up?
Go ahead. So like, yes, sir, if I may, what you bringing out is so heavy because we all listen to Young Jeezy. I know I did when I was young. I used to love that Young Jeezy, that Snowman album. It was hardcore. I thought it was. But then, I mean, it's still a nice album. But now, you know, fast forward the brother, because he was a hardcore street cat. Mm-hmm. You understand? And like a lot of us thought we were hardcore street cats.
Right.
You understand? Until I came into the truth and I seen what hardcore men were.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm looking at Young Jeezy like, you know, what you just bought out. Young Jeezy's a prey.
Right.
Maylene, that little 5'3", 90-pound Moabite is a predator.
That's right.
And he can't see it.
That's right.
Like you said, the wool is pulled down over his eyes.
That's right.
Because that heathen seen opportunity.
That's right.
Like most heathens do. They're opportunists.
Right.
She's seen an opportunity to marry some rich, dumb Negro.
Yep.
And she took advantage of Young Jeezy.
Just like Kim Kardashian.
Just like Kim
and
KK.
Kanye West.
And whoever. I don't even know all their names.
Terrence Howard, O.J.
Simpson,
Simpson, Michael Jackson, Prince, Venus Williams, Serena Williams, and the white man is going to turn on you the same way he turned on all of them.
That's right out of one.
You're going to end up in jail just like O.J. Simpson. You're going to end up a drug addict overdose just like Michael Jackson and Prince because you love the other nations of people when they don't love you. You love them, but they don't love you. Kim Kardashian is a billionaire worth more than her man, Kanye West, that she divorced from, and the white judge ruled in her favor to get the child support. After both of them agreed that they will split custody. Usually you don't get child support because both of y'all going to have them equally, but they gave it to her, who's worth more money than him.
Good night.
Because your oppressor, because you fought your entire life since the 60s to join your oppressor and to love the other nations, it has backfired on you. All of the time you spent trying to love everybody is the time you should have spent trying to love your own people. Trying to fight like the Isupk, fight for the right for us to love our own people. That's something that we had to fight for in here. Commander Juliana and the 7 heads at one time, brother, what they call us, the freedom of speech champions, we had to fight America and fight Great Britain and fight the earth and the powers on this earth just to love black people. Like, we couldn't at one time even love our own people. We couldn't. At one time, we couldn't laugh in public. We had to stick our heads in a laughing barrel. Well, at one time, it was illegal for you to... When I say illegal, I don't mean it was written in a piece of paper. I mean that you couldn't be seen loving your own people. You couldn't be seen helping your people. You couldn't be seen doing things for your people. Why? Because because it's not allowed. Because it wasn't allowed. It wasn't allowed for you not to be a Christian. If you black and Hispanic guy, you have to be Christian. If you don't believe me, go tell your grandmama and your mother that you won't be celebrating Christmas this year. And then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be Christian, or else you're going to be shunned in this place. You're going to be shunned. You're going to be a cast away if you don't love your oppressor.
That's right.
You must love your oppressor if you want to be accepted by everybody. You have to apologize if you make a statement saying the Jews are black and that you love black people. You're going to apologize and you're going to give away $500,000 to the JDL because you have to love everybody else. Nobody else is required to do that. Nobody else is required to love the enemies of their people. The Jewish man isn't required to love the Nazis, and you would think it would be crazy if somebody told them to. You would think it would be crazy if somebody came along and said, hey, listen, man, I know it would happen to the Jewish people.
Right.
I know that it was a horrible atrocity, but it was in the past. Let's move over it. Let's get past it. Now it's time for you to love the Nazis. Now it's time for you to love the Germans. Now it's time for you to love Adolf Hitler. You would find somebody to be crazy if they said something like that. And they would be. So why is it not crazy that we have to apologize? Salaki, apologize for saying the Jews are black. Why do we have to apologize for loving our people and preferring each other? Why is that so crazy? Because if you're black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, you're not allowed to be anything other than Christian. That's why. That's why you need to get the hell out of the church. Because when you're a Christian, you are learning to love your oppressor, and you're not learning how to love your people. You're not learning the relationship between the wolf and the sheep. In the church, you know what they believe that the relationship between the wolf and the sheep is? We all bleed red. We all bleed red. All lives matter. You think that a sheep is going to go to a wolf and tell him our lives matter. A sheep's lives matter. Lamb's lives matter. That wolf is going to lick his chops and go to town on that goddamn lamb. He's looking at him like a 3-piece, like a nigga looking at a piece of chicken. You're looking to devour it. And here you silly Negroes in the church, you want to convince the oppressor why your lives matter? Goddamn the oppressor. Go and do your own thing. Ain't you free? Isn't that what Dr. King fought for? Isn't that what your ancestors fought for you to be free? Ain't you free? It's 2022. If you free, why do you have to convince your oppressor to love you so much? What difference does it make if he hates you? He should hate you. He's the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
No nation loves each other. You think the Pakistanis love the Chinese? You think the Chinese love the Russians? They don't. The Russians could care less about China and Xi Jinping. They don't care about their history. They don't care about the Ming Dynasty. The only thing they care about is doing business with each other to benefit their people. That's it. Here you are believing in some amusement park fairy tale fallacy of I gotta love everybody and it's godly to love everybody. No, it's not godly, which we're about to go to in 2 seconds. It's not godly for all nations to come together and love each other. That's not how he designed the earth and designed life to be. It's not. And that's a lie told every Sunday by the black Christian church. White people go to church and they don't learn to love everybody. They go to church to learn to love their people. The God they serve murdered the North American Indian and then thanked their God for it. The white man murdered the North American Indian for Thanksgiving in the 1600s, and then they prayed to God and thanked their God for it. The Arabs, when they went through all of those dynasties in those countries, in Morocco and in Arabia, Saudi Arabia, and in Iraq and Afghanistan, and when all of those, when Muhammad's followers, when they went through there and the caliphate killed those people who didn't agree with Islam and they slaughtered them and spread their religion by the sword, they thanked Allah for doing it. They thanked Allah. When the Mongols, in the Mongolian Empire, when people in Asia didn't accept Buddhism, what did they do? Did they pray for them? Did they convince them and say all lives matter? They didn't, They killed them, They murdered them. They unalived them. And if you didn't believe in it, they just unalived you. And everybody now believes in it in Asia. Everybody's a Buddhist in China. Because they don't believe what you believe. They don't believe in some amusement park notion, some Disney Channel. That's Disney Channel. That's what kids look at Disney Channel. Here you are 35 still thinking like a child that everybody's got to come together. Nobody believes that but black people. And it has hurt us and it has hindered us from doing anything because everybody has to be included in what we do. No, they don't. You don't have to join politics and Democrat and vote. You don't have to be Republican and vote. You don't have to get in there and change the system. In order to change the system, you got to get in there. Nobody else thinks like that but blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Getting in the system to change the system, it doesn't change anything. It didn't stop the INS detention center from locking up black children and separating thousands of Hispanic babies. It didn't stop no cops from murdering Trayvon Martin. All of the black politicians America has, the black caucus has been around since, I think, slavery. Since slavery, there have been black politicians, and it has done absolutely nothing for the benefit of black people. You don't have to join your oppressor. You don't have to join the predator. You don't have to. That's silly. The wolf, the sheep and the lamb ain't joining the wolf. They're getting the hell away from the wolf. The gazelle is not running towards the lions to join the lions and saying all lives matter, we all bleed red. They say get the hell away from those lions so it can preserve our life, so our lives can be saved, so we can go and build what we need to build to help our people the way every other nation does. Keep going, Doc.
So the sinner with the godly.
It's the same thing, and that's for you brothers and sisters in the UPK. You out there hanging out with people in the world, it's no sweat, no problem. But they better not, if they have more of a pull on you than you do on them, and this includes family too. Those mothers and those fathers and those aunts and uncles y'all love so much, who are sinning, disgusting, crab, pork eating homosexuals that y'all love, if they have more of a pull on you than you do on them, you're not going to be in the truth very much longer.
That's right.
Keep going.
What
fellowship have the what? Sinner from the what?
What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb?
No, so the sinner.
So the sinner with the godly.
The sinner has no business being with the godly.
Kind.
There's nothing wrong with, hey, Shalom, what's going on? Speaking, passing. If you want to have a friendship with people in the world, that's no sweat, no sweat. It's not a sin in doing it. It's not a sin in doing it, and we don't tell you not to in the UPK. But you better be careful, is what the Bible is saying. Because just like the sheep have no business with the wolf, what are you doing with those niggas that you grew up with, Doc? You know what they're doing. They're about to go back to prison. They're about to rape somebody. They're going to end up in jail. What are you doing, supposed to be a man of God? Sis, what are you doing? All of those hoes that you grew up with are still hoes and bitches and sluts who leave men. That mama of yours is a whore and a bitch. She left your daddy. She didn't care about you. She chased penis. What is it about people in the world? Like, I never understood the pull that they have on somebody in the truth. I don't want to be anything like them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be around them. I don't care about them because they don't care about us in the UPK. You are the people I know. People who made an oath and stand with Commander Juliana. Who cares about some nut in the world who doesn't care about the truth? They're not looking to put the blunt down when you come by. This blows my mind. The people in the world, when you talk to them, do they talk to you about sins? Like, do they talk to you about the Thanksgiving meal that they just, like, I should ask. I should go around and ask that. Like, do people, when you talk to your mother in the world, does she talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas meals around this time? When you talk to that nigga that you grew up with in the world, what is he talking to you about? Is he talking to you about some hoe that he just had sex with and left? Like, how does that make you feel being in the truth and somebody is talking about sin around you? Somebody is talking about sinning around you that they've done or about to do. How does that make you feel? It has to feel like a police officer talking to a criminal about a crime that he just committed. That's how it should feel. It should feel like a cop. Imagine a cop pulls over some murderer. Imagine a cop pulls over Jeffrey Dahmer. And Jeffrey Dahmer said, yeah, well, what are you doing today, Jeff? I know we hung out as buddies, man, but you know I'm a cop now. So what you about to get into? Oh, you know me, man. I'm about to go kill more innocent black people. You know, that's all. I'm about to go smoke weed. I'm about to go pop perks. I'm about to go drug individuals so I can rape them and murder them and unalive them. That's what I'm about to do, John. What are you about to do? Imagine the cop imagine the cop treats that as a normal conversation, Doc. Is that what y'all doing, Doc? Somebody please let me know. Because the Bible says, what relationship, what fellowship does the sinner have with the godly? You are godly in the UPK. You took an oath to be, and you are supposed to live your life to be. So it should offend you that somebody even talks about, I remember this happened, my mother-in-law asked Maria about it. She asked her when she was staying with us to find a church for her to go to. She said, yeah, find a church for you to go to. And Mariam said, what? A church for you to go? I'm not finding no, that's a sin against God. What are you talking about going to church? You're not going to church, and I'm not finding you a church to go to. Now, she's, that's One West, Salakia. She's One West. That's hardcore, raised by the generals and the captains. That's just being hardcore. But what do you do when your mother tells you that she's going to cook a Christmas meal? Brother, you better be careful. Because what's going to happen is they're going to pull you in the world back with them. And now, before you know it, you're going to find yourself compromising. And we don't compromise in the UPK. Go ahead.
So, like, sir, if I may, also Christ himself said he didn't come to send peace on earth. He didn't come to send peace, but he came to send a sword. He came to divide mother from daughter,
That's
father
right.
from sister, and brother from sister. He came to divide families.
That's right.
You understand? He came to divide us so he can, the ones that are worthy, the ones of us that may prove ourselves worthy of Christ, and the ones that are not worthy.
That's right.
You know, it's a line drawn. You're
That's
over
right.
there and I'm over here.
That's right.
So if someone in the world is coming and feels comfortable continually asking you, or talking about their sins, you might want to see if you're on the same side of the line as them.
Right.
Because they're in their mind you are.
Right.
They're
comfortable.
They're comfortable.
They're just comfortable.
I mean, I can see if it's a cat that doesn't know you on your slave.
Right.
Like, hey man, I was sleeping with these hoes. I don't
Yeah,
dealing with hoes.
Yeah,
Salaki.
exactly.
But if it's your homeboy if it's my homeboys from the 50, hey yo, Elijah Shah, hey man, we about to go run a train on some hoes. Like, why are you telling me this?
God is gonna kill you niggas.
God is gonna kill you for running it. And
then
then when you tell them that, they be like, I don't even want to talk to that nigga about no hoes no more.
And listen, if I may, that's the point. That's why Christ came to divide mother and father. You think that everybody is supposed to love you because that is what the church tells you. The church tells you when you find God, you're gonna love everybody and everybody's gonna love you. When you really follow Christ, Doc, everybody is going to hate you.
That's right.
Your mother is going to hate you. Those brats are going to hate you. Your wife is going to hate you. Your baby's mother is going to hate you. Your father, your block, your old barber, your old teachers, the world. Everybody is going to hate you when you really serve Christ. Everybody is going to hate you. You have to. The angels of God will come to you and they will try to convince you to leave.
That's right.
And what are you going to do? Leave the truth? Come on, man. Keep going.
You
better stand solid under Commander Juniana because he stood solid for you.
I'm right.
Like, what are you doing listening to some sinner? Do you miss the world that much? Well, maybe you should leave the truth and go back in the world then. That's what you should do. And once again, there's no sin to hang out with people in the world. Like, I'm just letting you know, like it was broken down to me, that you want people to love you even while you're in the truth. You sisters got that bad, You want to love, you want your old bitches that used to roll with you when they were in the world with you, you want them to still love you. And you want to hide the fact that your husband has multiple wives. What do they tell them, Elisha? My husband, no, I'm the only wife. She's going to find out that your husband has other wives. She's one of them. And he just had sex with her, and what are you going to do, lie to her? Like, nah, man, nah, that ain't, nah.
They doing that purple.
Yeah, that's good for you going to the purple. That's amazing for a woman. But in here, we don't hide anything and we don't compromise anything. We're honest and we just listen. Yes, this is we cult leaders. Yeah, people call us a cult, and we say hell yeah. F yeah, we're in a cult. We're cult leaders. Now, what are you hiding from the fact that you're in the truth? This is not the place for you then. If you hang out with people in the world and you let them talk to you about sin and you don't talk to them about the truth, then you're gonna go in the world sooner or later. And just remember I said that. Just remember I said that you're going to go in the world and leave the truth when people in the world have a stronger pull on you than you do on them. Remember I said that. Keep going now.
Verse 18. What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog?
Keep going.
And what peace between the rich and the poor?
Keep going.
Verse 19. As the wild ass in the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. Verse 20. As the proud hate humility, so doth the rich abhor the poor.
Now drop this and give me Nimrod.
Kind.
Give me when the Lord separated everybody and made different languages. Salakia. So what the brother was just reading, the scripture just said, Salakia, the scripture just said, what agreement is there between the hyena and the dog? Here you are thinking that hyenas and dogs are the same, and they are not. You thought in life, and this is because of Christianity, of course, you thought that everything was just equal, and everybody was equal and the same, when they are not, Ak. They are not. And then after you give me that one, give me where it says in the Bible that the Lord chose Israel, and when he threw out, when Hagar and her son Ishmael, when they were thrown out of Abraham's house. Find that one for me after you get the Nimrod. Hold the Nimrod first.
So what point on Nimrod did you want?
When the Lord divided the earth.
And
that's Genesis 10. Right? So, and after that, give me when when Abraham, when he told Hagar and that bastard son Ishmael to get the hell out of there.
Right?
Or Sarah told them to get the hell out. right? Because you're going to learn something that the Bible is God is not for accepting everybody, or else Ishmael and Isaac would be brothers still, and they would be together, and they would both receive an inheritance. If everybody was supposed to, if God intended for everybody to be together, because we're all, this is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. We're all humans. We all bleed the same. We all bleed the same and hurt the same. Why? We're all supposed to come together and join together. Then why does everybody speak different languages then? Why do certain nations want to conquer other nations? If we're all supposed to be together, why is it that God, what we're about to read, why did he divide the earth then? If we're all supposed to be together, here's what you'll find out. God never intended for all nations to come together. That's why they don't come together. That's why they all speak different languages. That's why. That's why there's a Slavic language group. That's why there's a Romantic or a Aramaic language group. Arabs, Israelites, blah, 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 speak Aramaic. They speak a Aramaic tongue, barbaric tongue. That's why they have this. That's why there are different languages. That's why there are borders, Elisha. That's why. Why do you think the earth is not even joined together, Ak? You think it's a... Do you ever think or wonder, why is South America here and Israel over there? Why are there different climates then in each group? Like nothing is together. Why are there borders then? If God wanted everybody to be together, why are there borders then? And this is what you ask somebody who asked this question, or who says that. Well, then why are there borders? Why are there Mexican babies in dog cages trying to come to America then? If everybody bleeds red and we should all come together, then why are Mexicans in dog cages in INS detention centers? Why? Why did the Mongols fight against the Arabs, the Caliphate then? Why did the Arabs convince North Africa and the Middle East to be Arabs? I mean, not convinced, but why did they go to war with them to make them Muslims? If everybody's supposed to come together, if everybody's supposed to be together, and everybody's supposed to be together, then what is this then? Why aren't you speaking every language and you can just go and walk into any country at your own will? You see how ignorant and silly that sounds?
So like, if I may,
go ahead.
Why isn't everyone together?
That's the point. Go ahead. That's
so like,
but we all bleed red. And they say that as if animals don't bleed like we do. Are you an animal then? Or like, are you a dog? Like, what is that? It's philosophy. That's what that is. When people talk about we all bleed red, we all are human beings, we all were born the same. So was bison. Bison are born the same way that your baby was born, out a vaginal canal. After the mama held the cow held her for him for 9 months, just like a woman. Are you a bison? Are you a bovine animal? What is that, Ak? I never understood that argument where we all got to come together. God wants us together. Then why does he allow everybody to kill each other then? Why is that? Why are there borders? Why did he separate the earth then? Read.
Genesis chapter 10 verse 8. And Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Cush, that is the South Africans, right? Or Cush is a African subgroup, but I don't know if South. I know Samaria was east, but I think Cush. We have to look. As a matter of fact, we got the Bible dictionary right here, just to clarify. Canaan was the South African, the water. Cush, let's see, Cush. Go ahead, you can keep reading while I'm researching.
And Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. Mm-hmm. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Most High, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Salaki. Mm-hmm. And what's that? Rich.
Gone.
And
Eric. You can say Eric.
Say Eric. And Eric and Akkad, or is it Akkad? Akkad and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Verse 11. Out of that land went forth Asher, and built it Nevanah, and the city of Rehoboth, and Calah. Verse 12. And Rezin between Nivea and Calah, the same is a great city. Verse 13. And Mizraim begot Ludim.
Just give me where the Lord, he split everybody up.
Okay, that's what I was trying to...
Right, Cush, which I
Because it's going to go pretty much into all... It's breaking down all Noah's sons.
Right,
so,
no, I get that. Now, Cush was the oldest son of Ham.
Kind of the kind.
Right, he was the oldest son of Ham. But I'm trying to remember where that was.
That
That was an African, if you didn't know, right? We do know that much. Now, as far as South, North, East, West Africa, I'm not too sure, right? But Cush is an Hamite, is an African, right? It's a Hamitic group. You got it?
Well, I was just going to say 32.
Okay, what does it say? Go ahead, read a little bit of it.
So, like, well, at the breaking down all Noah's sons, it's basically saying this. Verse 32, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, in their nations.
No, I don't. That's after. You need.
And by what these nations
you need
divided?
Nimrod. No, you need Nimrod.
Oh.
You need Nimrod in the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I need. That's Genesis 3. You need Nimrod. What he was breaking down. Right? Noah. Everybody knows the great
11,
flood.
I think.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows about the great flood. Everybody knows that the Lord flooded the earth. Right? And Noah had 3 sons. He had Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Cush was he was the oldest son of Ham. Ham was the Africans, the continent you can all call Africa. They will all be considered Hamites, Hamitic. You understand? Well, Cush was one of those sons of Ham. And he belonged to one of those groups in Africa. Africa got over 55 different countries. Who knows which one Cush is? But he was an African. His father was Ham. You understand? So what he was breaking down just now was the 3 sons of Noah and their sons, and how the Lord was about to divide all of them up.
Kind of the kind.
You understand? Now, what I want first is Nimrod. Now, you got Nimrod?
Kind of the kind.
Give me Nimrod.
Genesis 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was one language.
Was what?
One language.
Once I just asked the question, why don't you speak the same language as everybody? Like, instead of it being French, English, Portuguese, it's like 100 different languages on this earth, like with different dialects.
Kind of the kind.
You know, in the Philippines, Tagalog is their language. But there are like over 500 or 600 different dialects of Tagalog. Spanish. The Spaniards don't speak the same Spanish as the Mexicans. The Mexicans don't speak the same Spanish as the Puerto Ricans. You understand? Like, it's different. Even within those languages, it's just different dialects. And so why don't we all just speak English? If America is, you know, the nation that God wants to lead everybody, which is what Americans think, and America is this great nation, America speaks English. Why don't everybody speak English then? The Vietnamese were conquered by the Americans after the Vietnam War, right? So why don't the Vietnamese speak English? Why do they still speak Vietnamese? Why do the Polynesian Islands, why do they have their own language than the Hawaiians? They don't speak the same thing, right? The European languages all speak different languages. The Ukrainians and Russians have a different language. Even though Russia and Ukrainian is a similar language, they're different, right? Why do the Ukrainians speak different than the French? Why do the French speak different than the Portuguese? Because we're learning about it right now in the Bible.
Kind of the kind.
Keep going.
Was of one language and of one speech.
We all sounded the same. We all talked the same, meaning we all had the same language. Keep going.
Verse 2. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Verse 3. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. Verse 4. And they said, Go to, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
Now, the Lord already flooded the earth.
Kind of the kind.
This is Nimrod, the Hamite, an African. And he has everybody together. He's the ruler of this land full of everybody. And everybody is speaking one language, so they all understand each other. They decided to build a tower to heaven. It's called the Tower of Babel, right? You can research this. This really happened, Doc. Like, the Bible is real. I know people think it's fairy tale, and they try to battle us about the Bible, but they get crushed in it because it's true. It's a real history book. It's real, right? It has our history in it, and the history of the earth. And this Nimrod was a Hamite who really ruled. This is things you can find now.
Kind of the kind.
And he had convinced everybody to do what? Build a tower to reach heaven, to reach God. And this is just goes to show you just how ignorant heathens think. This was a heathen Nimrod. And this just goes to show how ignorant heathens are. right? Keep reading.
Kind of the kind.
So they're building this tower to reach heaven. Keep going.
Lest we be scattered abroad upon.
Go ahead.
Lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
We got to build this tower. Why? Anybody want to guess why? He just said it. Lest we be scattered. If you're not scattered, what are you?
Oh, if you're not scattered, you're together. You're one.
What is it?
One.
One nation under God.
Kind of the kind.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kind of the
you
kind.
see how old America is, Ak? America is Babylon, Ak. America's Egypt. Egypt was the same way. Rome was the same way. Rome would allow everybody to join the military, kind of like a country I know. Every country don't allow every other nation to join the military, but America is one of the countries who do.
Kind of the kind.
And they have the most powerful military, just like Egypt and just like Rome. I wonder why that's so familiar. Just like Babel. Just like Babylon, Ak, who allowed everybody, number one, spoke the same language, so they all understood each other. There was no language barrier like there is now. But my God, Ak, they not only spoke the same language, but they were one nation under God, indivisible.
That's right.
You see that? You see how America is spiritually Babylon, Ak? It's the same place. It's the same place as Egypt. It's the same as Rome. It's the same, Ak. It's the same. It's the same. God knows it's the same as Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the same place, Ak. Like the Bible say, there's nothing new under the sun. America is not new.
That's right.
America is not new. The same crimes that are happening to these groups of people that are crying out to the government are the same people that were committed against, the crimes were committed against them.
That's right.
The same thing, Ak. We just go in circles. I guess the same exact thing. The problem is, because we choose to join the other nations, guess what's going to happen to us? We're going to receive the same punishment as the other nations will receive by the hands of God.
Yeah, I'm right.
Keep going.
Verse 5.
And the precept you want for what I just said is Revelations 18:6. Come out of her, my people, so you do not be partakers of her sin, or so you do not be partakers in her plague. Like, if you don't separate from your oppressors and these heathens and stop trying to be like them and envy thou not the oppressor, you're going to partake in their plagues. You're going to receive the same punishment. COVID came. COVID-19 came. Mm-hmm. Guess what happened? COVID-19 was a plague from God. Just like these diseases. Brother, do you know my rib had to take my son to the emergency room the other day because we thought he had an ear infection, right? The doctor, the pediatrician in there, a licensed doctor. I know y'all get y'all information, y'all medical information from Nuts Online. We go to the hospital on the UPK, all right? And we get it from real doctors who had to do 15 years in medical school. Right? 12. Ask one of your doctors the next time you talk to them, how long was medical school? Or how long did it take from start to finish to be a doctor? 12 years. Not 6 days on YouTube, but 12 years. Right? So many of you think that prison is Harvard, and it's not. Because the brother did time in jail, Elisha, you can co-sign this for me. Brothers that do time in prison, they don't make them Harvard graduates. They go in there and go to the law library. They don't make them a lawyer. That don't mean anything because you did time in prison and you read. We read here on the outside. It don't make us no smarter. What makes you a certified doctor is going to medical school.
That's right.
What makes you a certified lawyer is going to law school. Nonetheless, we went to a certified doctor, Elisha. Not a prison lawyer, not a prison doctor, not Dr. Sebi's nut. We went to a doctor, and this doctor told us that, what was it, Doc? That there is a, not vaccination, there is a, what is that I'm thinking of? It's not vaccination, medicine. There's a medicine shortage right now in America. Did you know that, Doc? The doctor said, we don't want to tell people this because we don't want it to be like an uproar. But then he said, by next year, it's looking bad for medicine. He said medicine is, it's a shortage right now. They said, in fact, the medicine that they're forced to give these patients that come in with an illness, they said that 80% of the patients have to come back because they had a bad reaction to the medicine that they're giving. There's a medicine shortage, y'all, in the hospitals. I don't know if you know that or not. And now, I'm not telling anybody not to go to the hospital. Please go. If something's wrong, you got a medical issue, seek medical help from the real medical professionals in the hospital. But the doctor said that there's a medicine shortage on certain medicines, not everything. But amoxicillin is one of the ones you need for ear infections. Right? You got kids, you already know that amoxicillin does wonders. But there's a medicine shortage on that and other medicines. And he said that the medicine is like some off-brand stuff pretty much that they got to give patients, 80% of the people they give that off-brand medicine to or knockoff medicine to, they come right back to the hospital and tell them, I've been sick. And they say, well, you sick because of the medicine, because it's not the actual thing. And so now there's a medicine shortage. There's a medicine shortage in the hospitals. I said that to say something. We're talking about Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. Oh, I was saying that to say, I brought that up for something. What was we talking about before the medicine shortage? We were talking about Nimrod.
The Nimrod, the Tower of Babel.
The Tower of Babel.
And,
the plagues. The plagues. That's what it was. Being partakers of their sins. COVID-19, COVID-19 was a plague from God. Now, I brought that up to tell you, there's a medicine shortage, on most medicines. Some medicines there's a shortage on, meaning you can't get them. So if you're asthmatic and you need this medicine, then there may not be that particular medicine and that particular brand that you need to live. The point I'm making is there's food shortages going on. There's medicine shortages going on. There's all different types of variants of COVID going on right now. I mean, if you started to try to add it up, you'll go insane. If you realize just the plagues that the Lord is plaguing the earth with right now. If you realize it, you will go berserk. Because the Most High God is plaguing the earth right now. Peru's president just got locked up. And now there's turmoil in sedition in Peru. There's sedition in China. There's sedition in Korea. There's sedition all over the earth, including America. And I'm telling you this to tell you that if you join your oppressor and if you don't separate from your oppressor, you're going to suffer the plagues that God sent for your oppressor. The earth, Christ is coming back, y'all. I don't know if you can tell with everything I just named, and if you just turn on the news. You just turn on the news and you can see, Christ is about to come back. Because he is. We're in that final hour. And if you continue to love your oppressor and join your oppressor, you are going to receive the same punishment they will. Now, that's all I can do for you. I don't know what else I can do for you. I'm warning you that there is a medicine shortage on some medicines. I'm warning you that the COVID and all of these variants, they're still here. They didn't go anywhere. So all these people who didn't get a vaccine, there's still worse variants that's still to come. There's a virus now that's only affecting children under a certain age. And they say the kids that's getting it, a lot of them are dying. Like this is medical articles and news that we can find now. This is in the news, and I'm talking about here in America. I'm not talking about the United Kingdom. Speaking of the United Kingdom, in Europe right now, they're having an energy shortage because of the war in Ukraine. Yeah, the UK. Europe, I'm talking about Europe, period, not just the United Kingdom. All throughout the continent of Europe, there's an energy shortage. There's old white people in Sweden and in UK and in Germany that's cutting down trees right now to get wood just to heat their homes this winter. Speaking of the winter in Europe, it's one of the historically worst winters in Europe right now with an energy shortage. Like the earth is coming to it. Babylon is falling, It's falling and it's falling and it's falling,
That's right.
And Christ is set to return, and he's going to return on this earth very soon. And if you don't separate from your oppressor and consortive to your own like, consortive to your own kind, join your own people, you are going to suffer the energy crisis with Europe. You're going to suffer the race wars that's coming to America. You're going to suffer the Civil War and the World War and the race war that's coming to America if you don't separate. Keep going what you got on.
Verse 5. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. Verse 6.
Now, what is the Bible saying when it says the Most High God came down to see the tower? Did God get up off of his throne and walk down to earth? Christians will believe that.
That's what they
Christians believe that God got up out of his seat, his throne, and he went down there and walked down and floated down there to earth. That's not it. Christian, get the hell out of the church. I can stop listening to Christians.
They want to grow weeds.
Yeah, they want to grow weed. And listen, Christians are getting high in the church. Did you know that? Christians are smoking weed in the church, growing weed in the church, having sex in the church, having sex with children in the church, being LGBTQ in the church. The church is not the house of God. That's a place you go away from God, to get away from the Lord. You don't go to church to build any type of relationship with Jesus or with God. If you want to do that, you come into ISUPK, where this Bible tells you exactly what God is telling you. And that is to separate from your oppressor and to separate from the church. Now, when the Bible says God got up out of his throne, it's saying that the angels of the Lord went down to see and report back to the Lord what happened. Here you are thinking that, Salaki, that God, the Most High, got up out of his throne and he's floating. Like the Lord is not moving for nobody and for nothing.
He a boss.
He had, right, exactly. Get it, Brother Hand. Say it again.
He's a boss.
He's a boss. What boss, like that's a peon's job.
Cut it again.
Like the angels are the servants to the Lord and their army, and they do what God commands them to do. It's an organized thing up there in heaven. You think in your mind that it's like Bruce Almighty or something. It's not. It's not like TV. It's not like the Ten Commandments. He's not some big white man on a chair. He's a nigga that sits on the throne, and he's the nigga God, a black man with a white beard and a woolly white hair, and his throne seat is on fire,
right,
with spinning rims on his chair, just like a nigga, because he's the nigga's God. He's the Hispanics' God. He's the 12 tribes of Israel's power, and he resembles us, and we resemble him.
Damn right.
And he's sending his henchmen, his angels of God, who are terrible, trembling powers under the Most High God that you don't want to see. And they go and report back to the Lord. And they tell him what's going on. They say, oh, Most High, this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. These niggas out here building a tower to try to get to you. Keep going.
Kind of the one kind. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And
so when you read it right there also, it won't say the Lord's name, which the Lord's name is not Elohim. Elohim is the angels.
Oh, kind of. Well,
so
kind
no. I'm telling people, when you actually go to prove what I'm saying is true, when you read that in the Hebrew, it won't say the Most High God's name, right? It's going to say Elohim.
The powers.
Well, Elohim now, well, that's the powers. That's the Lord's angels.
Kind of the
angels of the Lord, right? So that goes to show when it's saying that God went down, it's not saying that God is a name for power. That's all God means. It means power. It's not the Most High God's name. The Most High God's name is Yahweh. And that's not, God, a man can be a God. People say it all the time. He's so handsome. He's like a God. That ain't calling him the Most High.
Right.
That's just a name. It means he's so powerful. That's all it means. So when the Bible says that God came down from heaven and he watched this and saw this, it's saying the angels of the Lord, the Elohim, went down there and they reported back to the Lord what they saw. Keep going. Go ahead, please.
So real quick, and if I may, just for you nuts out there that want to come up against the Isupk and come up against the Bible, we'd say, well, who wrote the Bible? Didn't man write the Bible? It's no different than the angels coming down, because the Lord, the Most High God, chose the man to write the Bible because it's his will.
Right.
He's not writing in the book himself. He's not coming down creating the earth himself.
Right.
He sends the angels or the powers and brothers that were moved in the spirit to write the Bible.
Right.
The same difference. I just want
to
send
angels to talk to those.
And angels to talk
tell them what the hell God is saying.
Because without that,
there you go.
I mean,
Brother Hand, what he's saying is so true. Here you are. You think the Lord is just a play toy. You think he's a genie like on Shazam with Shaquille O'Neal back in the day. I grew up on that one. I ain't too young, Elijah. I remember Shazam. Shazam was a black genie. You think the Most High God is a black genie like Shaquille O'Neal? He's not. He's a boss. He has men to go and do these jobs. Here you are. You don't do your job yourself. What are we talking about? God wrote the Bible. Listen, believe whatever the hell you want to believe in. Believe in the mosque. Who wrote the Quran? They reading books written by who? Men. That's a battle for them to have with themselves. You don't believe that God, whatever. Believe whatever you want to believe in. Just stay the hell away from me. Don't come in the UPK at all. Just stay out there and keep getting high and keep doing whatever you want to do, because in a minute, the weed that you smoking, you're going to need to go to a hospital to see a doctor for the emphysema that you're going to get, for the diseases that's going to come along with it, and there's going to be a medicine shortage, and you're going to die, and you're going to get a heart attack and die, like Dr. Sebi, on his way to a hospital and died. So go believe whatever the hell you want to believe in. We don't get high in here. We don't do drugs. What we teach is the Bible. You go and do whatever the hell you want to do, but there's that medicine that you want is going to be short because there's a medicine shortage.
Right.
And listen, do you believe if that's written by God or not? You're going to say, well, damn, I don't want to go to that Bible. I don't believe in that Bible. That Bible ain't written by God. You're going to smoke weed given to you by a man, made by a man, and you're going to go to the hospital when you get emphysema, and when you have an asthma attack and you need albuterol, which is man-made, and you're going to go to the hospital and they're going to say, we don't have any, I'm sorry, and you're going to die some slow, painful death because you don't want to listen to the Bible and to the voice of God. No sweat. Do whatever the hell you want to do. But me, however, I will serve the Most High God.
I'm right.
I will serve Commander Juniana and be in here until the day I die or until Christ comes back. But there is no getting out of this for me because I took an oath. And I don't get high and smoke drugs and use drugs. And I'm not an alcoholic. My mind is not altered by a drug state. I know what the hell I'm reading, and I know what's been broken down to me by the men above me. So you believe whatever the hell you want to believe. All I know is I don't need no medicine for emphysema because I don't smoke. Now you use that whatever the hell you want to. You do with that knowledge whatever you want to. Just know that they won't have the medicine when you have emphysema. They won't have the medicine when you have asthma and need albuterol because there's a shortage. Now remember I told you that. Now when you get high, you're going to need the medicine. You're going to die a painful death as if you had COVID-19, which is an upper respiratory infection, just like the other infections I just named, like pneumonia. Now you get it, it's getting cold outside too. You smoking and it's cold, you're gonna get pneumonia, and you're gonna go to the hospital and they're gonna say, "Sorry, Mr. Jones, but we don't have the medicine. All the medicine we can give to you right now is a shot of this, but it might make you sicker than the medicine that we will give you." And you're gonna sit there and you're gonna look stupid and you're gonna die because you chose not to listen to the men of God. Keep going.
Kind of the one kind. And the Most High said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language."
So the angels of God is reporting to the Lord. And they saying, what now? What did they tell the Lord?
"Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language."
They're one people, and they have one language.
Kind of the kind.
People are one, and they have one language. Remember that. Keep going.
"And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do."
Now, what does that mean? Because there's so many nuts out there who believes that what the scripture the brother just read, they make it seem like because people were building a tower to God, that they were going to have the same powers as God. That's not what's going on.
Walk into heaven.
They was going to walk into heaven and be like God and overthrow God. That's not it. When the Bible says, read that last part again you just read.
Kind of the kind.
Whatever they set their mind, imagination to, they will do. Read that part.
"And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do."
Meaning, Babylon's power on the earth at that time was like how America is.
Kind of the kind.
If the nigga told you to live an alternative lifestyle, guess what? You were going to do it. Because anything in your imagination, it's not going to be restrained. If you wanted to molest little kids, and they made it legal to be a pedophile, guess what's going to happen? All the kids in Babylon will be molested. That's what's going to happen. Why? Because the power of the people have reached the power of the Babylon, the power of Nimrod. He's looked at as a god.
As a god, kind of the kind.
He's God. Why do you think Nimrod was having to build a tower? To reach God out? Come on, y'all got to be adults, man. Nimrod wanted the same power that Alexander the Greek had, the same power that Donald Trump has now that can read classified documents in Mar-a-Lago. He wanted that power, he wanted the power that Donald Trump had to wage an insurrection on the greatest government that ever existed. He wanted that power, Donald Trump had the power to create sedition in America at the Capitol, at the Capitol, just by telling white people to hate black people. He wanted the power Donald Trump had, to wage wars with any nation that he wanted to. That's the kind of power that Nimrod wanted, and he had it. That's the reason why the nigga was having y'all build a tower called Babel. You think it was so they could reach God and walk into heaven? Nimrod wanted the power that every great man that ever existed had. He wanted that power to tell you what to do, and you were going to do it. And if you didn't do it, you would be killed. That's the kind of power Nimrod wanted. So whatever they set their imagination to, it wasn't going to be in it. It wasn't going to be out of their reach. That's what the Bible just said.
That's right.
You think that they were going to reach a tower to God, and then they were going to overthrow God, and now they're going to have the same powers as God. That's not how life works, brother. I don't know if y'all know that. That's fantasy in movies. That's not real life. Real life is this man is convincing these people to do this, and he's going to sit above everybody else like he's God. He's the highest, which is why do you think heathens like America and the white man, why do you think they gained air supremacy? You think they did it because they were curious? Black people think that white people do things out of curiosity. That's not why our oppressor does things. He didn't make airplanes and drones and go to the moon out of curiosity. You think he was curious about what was on the moon? He wanted to establish a dominant presence in the air, because if whoever controls the air is God, because who can throw them down? That's in the Bible. What I'm saying now. Nimrod, he's not a fool like you. He wasn't getting high all day like you.
Right.
He was a man who understood things. He was a great hunter. He was smart, like every great man in history. He wasn't sitting around getting high and playing video games all day like you do. He was actually about warfare and power and dominance. And so he convinced a bunch of high drug addicts like you to build this tower, and now he was going to be a god. He was going to be a god. So now, whatever his imagination was set to, his hands wouldn't be able to reach it. You were going to do whatever Nimrod said do.
That's right.
And that's what he accomplished, or he tried to accomplish. But keep reading.
Kind of the one kind. Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
You see that again where it says, let us go down? This isn't God talking out.
That's right.
This is the angels of the Lord who received an order from God. God gave the order for these angels, the Alahayim, to go down and destroy this tower and go down there and create a confusion of the language of the land. So now everybody ain't going to have one language. We not all one people, Elijah. We not all one people. There's borders. There's language barriers. And you're not the same because we didn't descend from the same man. That's just life, and you just have to accept. Black people have to accept it. I don't have to convince oppressors this because they know we're not the same. What did General Myman break down in class last night? When they watched Roots, they was rooting for the white people to whip the ass of the black slaves in the movie. And the movie is an imagination. And they still wanted black people to be whipped because they not Christian like you. Your Christianity wants you to love everybody. Their Christianity wants them to have power over everybody. And that's the difference between white Christianity and black Christianity. They don't come together. They're not going to come together. They're not going to love everybody. They're going to do what every other nation did to get power. And that's stay separate. And you better do the same thing, or else you're going to be just like the Tower of Babylon. God is going to destroy every plan you have. You see, that's the reason I pulled it, because God is never going to allow every nation to come together. Why would he when he wants you to rule the planet Earth? That's in Deuteronomy 7:3-6. He created you to be above all people of the earth. Why in the hell would he let you be equal to or beneath or the same as some heathen? He's not going to allow it, which is why Christ is going to come back to give justice and vengeance to the ungodly. And with that, I pass the class over to Priest and Officer Elisha.
Here we go. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which your brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verses 8-10 means tenth in the Hebrew. My Asherah, 10% of any penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation. Hanukkah will be Saturday, sundown, the 17th. You understand? 7 o'clock in your zone is when this Saturday. What's it like, sir?
This Saturday.
This Saturday in your zone is 7 o'clock. And also, Commander Junior Hanna he'll be doing it at headquarters.
Yeah. No, he'll be opening it up. Yeah, no, he ain't doing the closing. You're right. This Saturday.
He'll be opening it up.
Yeah, this Saturday.
Commander Junior Hanna be opening up the feast as well. You can catch that at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Remind Akuman Aqua to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, or war scarf. And with that, Ahmadium Shabbat, Salakia, Ahmadium, Barak. I forgot to say, Salakia, we're going to give Salakia many years. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Yahba Shema Shabrakatah.
Yahba Shema Shabrakatah.
Yajmatah. Class dismissed.
Wait, before you close it out, go over there to the We're gonna put the sign-in link in there.
You gonna put it on the
Close it out. Yeah, here.
on this one.
And on Facebook. As a matter of fact, you can do it after. We can stay.